Hey everyone, I'm going to do the exercise 5 for lesson 3. My name is Dylan Thompson, and hopefully I can get this going good for you guys. And if you have any questions, just let me know on our discussion board. What I did is I took it and I put it into Excel, actually. The same question. I'll go to Wiley Plus and show you after we walk through this problem. So up here in the top left, you see that it's lesson 3, exercise 5. And here's all the instructions for it. It says a tabular analysis of the transactions made during August 2017 by Sunman Company during the first month of operations is shown below. Each increase and decrease in stockholders' equity is explained. And it's over here on this right-hand side. So what I did, this is all information from the actual question in Wiley Plus. I listed it out with our equation of assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity, and broke it down into each different balance under asset, the current assets, long-term, and plant and equipment. Liabilities have accounts payable. Stockholders' equity consists of common stock and retained earnings, and under retained earnings, of course, it is revenues minus expenses minus dividends. So the first one that they want us to go through for portion A of this problem is an income statement. All of these areas that are yellowish gold, we're going to be filling in as we go along through this problem. For an income statement, since it is a period of time, we will be putting in for the month ended August 31st, 2017. So and you can find this date in this first portion of the question. It says during August 2017, and it doesn't say end of the year, so that's how we know it's for the month ended August. The next one right here, since the income statement is revenues minus expenses, this first portion would be revenues, which was right here. We know that it's a service revenue of $9,200. And that again is the service revenue. It doesn't matter which way you fill it. I tend to do this one and then that one. Sometimes I do vice versa, like I just did. The next one is our expenses. We fill those in right here, which are all found over here. Retained earnings and stockholders' equity. I tend to go from most needed to pay off to least to pay off. Sometimes that deals with price, and the first one is salaries and wages expense, which is $2,800. You find that right here. The next one is rent expense, which is $830, which you can find right here under expenses and retained earnings. And then the final expense is utilities expense, which is $400. And this can be found right here under expenses and retained earnings. Then we add up all of our total expenses. And this equals out to be $4,030. And the way you do that is you add these three numbers: salaries and wages expense, rent to expense, and utilities expense. It's equal $4,030. And then you take revenues minus expenses, so 9,200 minus 4,030 to get a net income. And then other times often it's or loss, but in this case it's a net income. And the difference of that is 5,170. And this is your income statement. For portion B, we're looking at a retained earnings. So it says prepare a retained earnings statement for August. List items that increase retained earnings first. So this one is the date, and it works the same way as the income statement because it's a period of time. So we will be writing for the month ended August 31st, 2017. Once again, you can find that up here in their question and statement of the problem itself. Whether it's ended month or ended year, it'll specify, but in this case, it's ended month. And retain earnings, the first portion that we fill out besides the date in this statement would be retained earnings August 1st, 2017. And that is $0. And the reason being is because when you come up here on the retained earnings, with it starting during the month of August, we didn't have any to start with. Also, it says that during its first month of operations, so we know that they don't have any retained earnings in the first month to begin with, and so we'll solve for their ending. Right here, we add or minus, in this case, add the net income of 5,170. Come right up here in the income statement and bring the net income down into this portion on the retained earnings statement. This next portion, we less or minus the dividends. I gotta skip one step. So we forgot to add the retained earnings beginning to the net income, and that totals to be 5,170. Once we get that total, then we minus the dividends. And if we come up here to dividends, there's 2,500 under the dividends and retained earnings of stockholder equity. 2,500. And this will equal our retained earnings August 31st, 2017. And this totals out to be $2,670 for retained earnings. And this is your retained earnings statement for Sunrun Company. The third portion that the question is asking us is a balance sheet. The instructions say to prepare a classified balance sheet at August 31st, 2017. List current assets in order of liquidity. So for a balance sheet, it's a date instead of a period of time, which would be August 31st, 2017. The balance sheet consists of two different portions: the assets in this portion and the liabilities and stockholders' equity in this portion. In the first part, in this part of the balance sheet, we list the assets, and it says a classified balance sheet, so we go into classified operations, and this would be current assets. And then we list our three assets in this case of this problem, which are cash, accumulated receivables, and supplies. And you can find that up here in the portion of the question. We have cash, accounts receivable, and supplies. For cash, what we do is we add up all of this. For accounts receivable, we add up the line items under accounts receivable. And for supplies, we add up everything under supplies account. When we add up all of those, we come to the following. And since we list the assets in order that are most liable or capable to be able to be cash itself, would be cash, and then accounts receivable, and then supplies under current assets. The totals for cash is $9,260. The total for accounts receivable is $5,150, and the total for supplies is $580. And again, you can find that by coming up here to each account under assets and adding up each one in the columns. Cash, accounts receivable, and supplies. We then add up all of the total current assets. The totals to become $14,990. Since it is still classified balance, one last account under our assets is property, plant, and equipment. And in this case, it is equipment for $5,030. We then add up our total assets. Which in this case we add up cash, accounts receivable, supplies, and equipment, or make it easier, total current assets plus equipment, which would add up to be $20,020. Our next part of the balance sheet is liabilities and stockholders' equity, which is split up into two portions, which is liabilities, of course, which would be current liabilities, because this is a classified balance sheet, and split it up into the different classified operations. And in this problem, the only current liabilities is accounts receivable. We find that up here. The liabilities, it's accounts payable, sorry, not accounts receivable. Accounts payable, and that total to be these numbers: 3,050, negative 2,100, and adding 400. This comes out to be $1,350. Our next part in this balance sheet would be stockholders' equity section. And this part of the balance sheet has two parts to stockholders' equity, which is common stock and retained earnings. For common stock, when we come up here under stockholders' equity, we have the part of common stock, which is 16,000, or anything that is added in this account. In this case, just one. So it'd be 16,000. Retained earnings. Again, we filled out a retained earnings statement, and this would be the retained earnings ending August 31st, 2017, which is $2,670. We total stockholders' equity. And this comes out to be adding our common stock plus our retained earnings, 16,000 plus 200 or 2,670 to equal $18,670. The final portion is our total liabilities and stockholder equity. And this comes out to be $3,020. When we go to check our balance sheet, the best way to confirm is under total assets and total liabilities and stockholders' equity, because the balance sheet must equal out on these two portions of the account. They do, and we are completed now. I will show you under YB Plus my problem, so that way you can see that everything looks the same as I just did it in Excel. So up here we have our question, our layout of the operations shown of assets, liabilities, and stockholder equity. Right here we find our income statement. As you can see, each of these are right that we were able to fill out. For the second part was retained earnings that we finished for August. And right here you can see that each of these are correct as we filled them out and reviewed them. And portion C of the problem is our balance sheet, which we filled out in the Excel file, listing the assets and the liabilities and stockholders' equity. Each of these that we were able to fill out were also correct. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this helped a lot with your homework. It did for mine. Thank you.